Mr. Bad Guy was the debut solo LP by Freddie Mercury. It was recorded from 1983 to early 1985. It was released on the 29th of April 1985. The album was recorded between 1983 and early 1985 at Musicland Studios in Munich, Germany. The producer was Mack, who had worked with Queen since The Game in 1980. There was 4 singles released from this album. The first one was I Was Born to Love You. This got into the top 10 in the UK in May 1985. Made in Heaven didn't fare as good. Living on My Own was another chart obscurity, and Love Me Like There's No Tomorrow in late 1985 didn't really go anywhere. This is the inner sleeve of the UK vinyl pressing. I reckon these photographs were taken of Mercury in early 1985, possibly when they did the Rock in Rio festival. Just seems to fit in a lot of photographs from these sessions. The lyrics are present in the inner sleeve, and the publisher is actually Queen Music. Here we see the main credits, produced by Mack and Freddie Mercury, engineered by Mack, assisted by Stefan Wisnet. Freddie Mercury all vocals, piano and synthesizer. Fred Mandel, additional piano and synthesizer and guitar. Paul Vincent, lead guitars. Kurt Kress, drums. Stefan Wisnet, bass guitar. Joe Burt, fretless bass on Man-Made Paradise. Rainer Peitsch, arrangement for Mr. Bad Guy. Mack and Stefan Wisnet, Fairlight. Was mastered by George Marino at Sterling Sound, New York. CBS signed Mercury for this LP, which is unusual. That his own company EMI didn't have anything to do with it. It's unique that way. It wasn't a huge success. It was still overshadowed by Queen. Queen performed at Live Aid not long after this album was in circulation, and even though Made in Heaven was out around the time of Live Aid, Queen were still touted as the biggest band in the world after they stole the show. This is the cover of the US vinyl pressing. As you can see, Mr. Bad Guy is in more of a normal block type font and not the handwritten scribe that you see on the UK edition and most editions. Even on the back, Mr. Bad Guy is in the same font as on the front, so this makes this a little different than the UK version. Plus there's a barcode on the US. The label on the US pressing is also different. It's got the Columbia red label. Mr. Bad Guy was released on compact disc around the same time as the vinyl LP. This is the UK disc pressing. As you can see, Mr. Bad Guy is written in black. The back has got the generic CBS black stripe down the side, because it's a facsimile of the LP dimension and the compact disc box is longer. The CD has 3 extra tracks: Let's Turn It On, I Was Born to Love You, Living on My Own. These are all 12-inch versions, and they appeared on the 12-inch singles from the time. The compact disc itself is the typical generic CBS style disc from the time. No color printing. It's just got black ink on a clear disc, and this one is made in France by MPO. Booklet. It's got the typical CBS indexing of the time. All their catalogue was like this. Lyrics, photograph, which is the opposite way around from the vinyl. And the credits. The cassette is different to fit in with the rectangular cassette artwork format. You see that Freddie Mercury is in 2 lines and Mr. Bad Guy is in black on a white background. There are other versions, I think, with full colour from different countries. This is characteristic of the time, the 2-punched cutout. I Was Born to Love You on the cassette is actually the extended version. It's got the generic CBS style sunburst. Yeah, it actually does say extended version here. It's a good album. There's a lot of energy in it. He put a lot into it. There's some incredible vocals on the album. Let's Turn It On has got incredible vocals and backing vocals which are absolutely impeccable. It's very hard to get your head around how he did those. Made in Heaven, it's another song where he really puts everything into it. It's kind of a electronic-y feel to some songs, but there is a lot of real bass and drums and the whole shebang. Mr. Bad Guy itself is fantastic with kind of a I Am the Walrus style beat, and London Philharmonic Orchestra I think is on that. There Must Be More to Life Than This was a duet with Michael Jackson, but I think they recorded a few songs together in 1983, but Freddie got a bit freaked out when Michael brought his llama into the studio. The Michael Jackson song was shelved and released on another Queen solo project or whatever. So overall, Mr. Bad Guy, I still listen to it. It's great. The vocals again are fantastic, but all the songs have great melodies. It's a shame he didn't do another album a couple of years later. Again, Barcelona was the next project, and then there was another 2 Queen albums. You must remember, Queen were very busy at the time. The Works came out in 1984, and there was a tour for that. 85, they were kind of more or less having a hiatus, and then Live Aid was the peak, and they started recording A Kind of Magic, which was released in 1985, and then the Magic Tour. Then you had Barcelona with Mercury and Montserrat Caballé. Then in 1989 The Miracle, and then sadly Mercury's demise in 1991. But overall, Mr. Bad Guy is it's a great entertaining album, and some of his best vocals ever committed to tape are on this album, and it's very entertaining. Yeah, it's really good. Like I said, it's a pity that there wasn't Mr. Bad Guy 2, so I'm sure that would have been quite good as well. Yeah, so that's it. That's Freddie Mercury, Mr. Bad Guy. It's his only solo album, and it's very entertaining at that. As someone said one time, Freddie without Queen is a lot more entertaining than Queen without Freddie. And it's true.